Welcome in to another edition of the JMU Sports News Podcast. I'm Bennett Conlin, joined by Jack Fitzpatrick. Jack, how are you doing? Because I zoned out at the start of our podcast.
I was about to say, where were you looking off to? I know you got a window right in front of you. What's happening out there?
I was reading a text, and then I thought about my reply to the text. That was work-related, and then I forgot we were at 10 seconds until we started, which was then 0.
Well, then here we are. We're into the JMU Sports News Podcast presented by Bet Online, and we just want to let you guys know that Bet Online is your number one source for all of your summer sports this season, from MLB, golf, NBA, all the way to the NHL playoffs. All the latest stats, news, and scores available to follow for your favorite teams. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest team matchups, player props, and odds on just about every sport out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts.
All right, is it time to trash on the collective, or do we do that? You want to do that at the end?
Apparently, that's what the podcast is known for. You're already out of your firing shots early on in this podcast. I was gonna keep it professional.
No shots. But do you want to address you had some Twitter drama?
I did have some Twitter drama, but it's fine.
Okay.
All water under the bridge.
That's great to hear. Do we have to clarify what we said last time or no?
Maybe we should. I mean, I didn't think it was lost because it was a therapy session. We were talking about, and my overall point was group of 5 collectives might be working. We're not entirely sure what's happening behind the scenes. Very well could be working, but at the same time, it's just sad to see what the Power 5 schools can do and the money they can throw around with around 6 figures and everything like that, where it's just really hard to compete. And it was more so me talking about NIL is meant for name, image, and likeness, being able to go out and sell yourself and profit off of your name, image, and likeness. NIL isn't meant for the fans to be supporting the players' salaries. That was my overarching point, and it was just kind of a bummer that we've gotten to this point where it's pay to play, backed by the fans, more so backed by huge donors of these schools, like Arkansas having the Purdue chicken family being able to pay for John Calipari to come there. And they have Jerry Jones as part of their alumni base, and all of these other schools. Indiana has, I think, over $7 million between basketball and football to be able to hand out to big time players. That was my overarching point. And it got lost, and it all started because I'm just not a fan of trashing players when they leave a school. I think David DeGuzman, he had a really good tweet. It was around the Virginia Tech fallout with Kenny Brooks leaving and everything like that, and the players transferring out. You can support the players and the university at the same time. And that's what I choose to do. Some people don't choose to do that. That's their prerogative. But at the same time, I feel really strongly about that. And when I see something I'm not a big fan of, I'm going to call it out. Maybe I could have been a little bit more tactful. I can take out maybe that. I could have been a bit more tactful in what I said and how I said it. Could have addressed it in another way, but I chose what I did. I did what I wanted to do, and my point got across, and I got likes. I got views. They say any type of PR is good PR. And
we're clickbait clowns. So.
We're clickbait clowns. I got clown.
You did get clowned. So congratulations for joining the club.
Now, Daniel and Ben, if you guys are listening to this podcast, it's up to you.
Work a little bit harder, guys, to get clowned. But I think the other thing that was maybe misconstrued from last time is I don't think either of us are rooting for JMU to be a stepping stone, which I saw some people saying oh, these sports news guys, they love that JMU is a stepping stone. We don't love that. It just kind of seems like it is at this point. A lot for coaches, some players to a certain extent. That doesn't mean they can't be really good. It doesn't mean players can't stay for 4+ years. It's just really hard to keep players like a D'Angelo Pons when he's probably getting 6 figures to go to Indiana, which is not. I mean, I think Indiana's going to go to a bowl game. I think they're improving with Signetti.
I saw your bet.
Yeah, I'm on them.
I'm Bet Online though. Come on, man.
I'm on them over 5 wins, but I'm not. They're not going to win the Big Ten or anything. So I don't know. I think, some guys are going to leave because there's a lot of NIL opportunities at other schools. That's sort of the reality. It doesn't mean we're rooting against JMU. We're just, talking about the reality. But the Dukes should be really good, and we'll get into this in 2024. And they've done a great job in the portal. I was looking back today. I thought they'd added more FCS guys in the winter window. They added a lot of Power 5 and G5 guys in that window. They've added a couple of really nice FCS guys and obviously some Holy Cross kids too. but they've done a great job of getting really good players from a bunch of different schools. So I do think what they can do in the portal in terms of adding stuff, a lot of time is probably going to be able to offset some of those tough losses. And I think more so than most group of 5 schools that maybe don't have a collective, or maybe they just don't have the winning history that JMU has or the fan support. So there are a lot of things that JMU can sell to get very good players on its roster across multiple sports.
Yeah, and they've done exactly that. We'll break down transfer portal on the football side. We'll break down transfer portal on the basketball side today. We'll talk a little baseball bubble. We'll talk softball as they took down Southern Miss. They're set to face off against the defending Sun Belt champions. They've won the Sun Belt every year since COVID. I believe they won 4 of the last 5. Absolutely dominant team that they'll be facing off against in the Raging Cajuns. Upset on the horizon, quite possibly, but you can find all of our written material. You can follow along with all of the latest drama, I guess, now at JMU Sports News, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and you can find our home on the web, www.jmusportsnews.com. I had a point that I was going to build off of with what you were saying. Unfortunately, I forgot it. Do you want to just dive into football transfers here?
Let's do it.
All right. So football, they lost D'Angelo Pons. That's been talked about. Oh, this was my point. I'm not a fan of the current setup where these teams can throw so much money at the players. Right. At the same time, the players should go and take all the advantage they can at this. I don't like it. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's sustainable. And I think that it's going to end sooner rather than later. But at the same time, take advantage of the hand you're dealt right now for the players. Go get your 6 figures. Go get more. For JMU, on their side, they're bringing in some really high-quality FCS guys, some guys that jumped into the portal looking to make that step forward into the FBS ranks. They got Ja'Kai Young, a defensive back from Gardner-Webb, Christopher Fitzgerald, a defensive tackle from Youngstown State. We won't hold that against him, but shout out another Fitz, and a Marion Granger, a wide receiver from ODU, have all joined the Dukes in the last 7 or so days.
Pretty nice haul, because in the transfer departures, I think the 3 biggest ones, I don't even think this is debatable, but the 3 biggest ones in the spring are Pons, Tyreek Tucker, and Solomon Van Horst, right? Pons, you essentially replace with Ja'Kai Young, the defensive back from Gardner-Webb, who was a first-team all-conference player in the OVC.
Gardner-Webb plays in the OVC now?
I think so, unless I got that wrong. But I think he was first team all OVC.
I don't mean to put you on blast in the middle.
That doesn't make sense. That does not make sense. Was he somewhere else before Gardner-Webb?
I'm looking it up now. You keep talking.
You fact check me there.
Because I swore they played in the Big South.
But anyway, Christopher Fitzgerald's a really good player. But Young's I would say, a replacement who can play nickel for, and we'll have to update our website here once we find out he plays in the Big South. He can play nickel, which is kind of what Pons is doing, right? He's sort of an undersized corner, but I guess he can move all around. But I think Young can do that as well. Different player. Pons is very good, but I think Young's a talented guy too. A lot of experience. Had 2 interceptions last year. I think both of them he returned for touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll see here, because you're already fact-checking one thing on Ja'Kai Young. You can fact-check that one too. And then Christopher Fitzgerald I like a lot. Played really well in a really good conference, right? Missouri Valley Football Conference. That one's correct. You don't have to fact check me there. Youngstown State. So he's played good competition at the FCS level. 11.5 tackles for loss and 5 sacks over the last 2 years. Good player on the inside, can basically replace Tyreek Tucker there. So I think that's a nice one. And then getting Granger at receiver, who did some nice stuff for ODU the last 2 years, 15 catches for 215 yards, which isn't crazy, but he can come in and be a depth piece at wide receiver. Yeah, go ahead.
So I didn't hear anything you said. I've been searching to figure this out. Big South OVC, they're partnered for football.
So it's just the same. So he's Big South / OVC.
OVC is it's the Big South OVC Football Association.
That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Okay, well, he's first team that, and so he's a good replacement at corner. Fitzgerald's a beast on the inside, and I think he can certainly replace what Tucker has. They seem like they're going to be a lot deeper than they've ever been, is sort of my estimation with the portal haul here.
Yeah, I think they're going to be deep. I think it's going to be really solid. The Ja'Kai Young pickup in the secondary is what really excites me. And Christopher Fitzgerald also does, mainly because it's a Fitz. I think the void that Tyreek Tucker left was big, and he'll be able to. It's almost like a Moneyball approach, I feel like, at this point with the defensive line specifically. And I'll get back on Shakai Young here in a second. But with the defensive line, like you lost Jalen Green, you lost Chroma, you lost Tyreek Tucker now. All of these big names who
Carpenter, like everybody.
Kamara. Yeah. Okay.
It's a good group.
But adding a guy like Christopher Fitzgerald, who was a really good player at Youngstown State in the Missouri Valley, you're not necessarily replacing Jalen Green. You're not replacing James Carpenter up the middle. But at the same time, you have a really good Christopher Fitzgerald. On the outside, you have, inside with him, you have Emmanuel Bush right there too. So is it the aggregate? You replace him in the aggregate. Is that what Moneyball's approach is? You might not be able to replace his hits, but you can get two different players to combine to make that hit. So you're not replacing all first-team conference-level teams. You're not replacing these All-Americans with one guy. It'd be kind of foolish to think you can do that. But bring in Eric O'Neill. Bring in Christopher Fitzgerald. Bring in these guys along the line. Bring back Abi Nwabaku Akonji, who missed last year with an injury, and you should, in the aggregate, be able to build that defensive line to dominant standards again, mainly because you're able to have some good depth there where you got guys that are fresh all game, because there wasn't depth last year on this.
They didn't rotate,
which you saw with. I never dove into the stats, and this is purely eye test. But the first and fourth quarter, they were one of the best defensive lines in the entire nation. In the second and third quarter, you were like, this isn't the same team. And I think it's because they got gassed in the second and third. And then fourth quarter, when you're in a close game, your adrenaline kind of takes over. And in the first quarter, you're fresh. So the first and fourth, they bookended games extremely well. Second and third, they always kind of left you upset.
Especially if it was kind of a shootout. Like they had some games where they're getting so many 3 and outs. They were like fresh throughout. But some teams had offenses that could drive and score.
And you would see in like the comebacks, like Utah State, all of a sudden they're starting to put some drives together, and you're like, oh, they're getting gassed. They can't generate pressure. But now you have probably 2 platoons that you can have good rotations and keep the guys fresh.
A lot of depth at a lot of positions, especially defensive line. So, I think the Fitzgerald one was a nice add.
Yeah, and going back to Ja'Kai Young, kind of a similar thing. He might not necessarily be CB2 or even CB1. He might be CB3 and see how it all shakes out. Terrence Spence might be that CB2. It depends on how it all shakes out. But he's a piece that was desperately needed in that room. And JMU's continuing to offer defensive backs. They're not done in the portal right now with the defensive backs.
No, I think they've got Jordan Dunbar, who I think played at Rice, is supposed to visit tomorrow. They've had some others that they've offered that I think they're close on, or it seems like they might be able to add some more. Although I think one thing we learned from the winter, right, is that some offers, once you start to add corners, can become not offers for JMU. So I think that's right. We saw that a couple times where guys in the winter were like, oh, I'm really interested. And then they added a different player at the same position.
Oh,
and it seemed like the offer essentially gets retracted.
Yes.
So which happens at every school. So something to monitor there is they've got a few names out there, and it's kind of like, hey, if you want to play for like a really good team with a chance at the college football playoff, like sign now, because otherwise they're gonna have a lot of corners.
Yeah, like there's 5 Scullies left right now,
right?
And there's only 5.
So if you want it, you better strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah. They also added Granger, a wide receiver. I was a little interested in this one. 2 years at ODU, 15 passes, 213 yards with a touchdown. That's a crowded room.
Very crowded room.
And it's interesting that they're adding talent in the portal there. You lost Nakai Poole, and it didn't really feel like the wide receiver room necessarily took a step back, because you're probably only going to be playing 3, maybe 4 wide receiver sets, and it feels like you got 6 solidified.
They've got a lot of really good receivers, so that's going to be interesting. I wonder if, like Dylan Williams is a little bit of a bigger receiver. Taji Hudson's definitely a bigger receiver. Dollison's like a speed guy.
Yeah, he is.
I wonder if there's some similarities with Granger, and I haven't watched a lot of Granger like tape, to be honest. But
That's your homework for this next week.
exactly, I wonder if Granger has some similarities in his game or position to Cam Ross, the UConn transfer, who's expected to be a key contributor, but has also missed like a lot of time during his college career with injuries. I wonder if that's a little bit of like an insurance policy. And then also, Granger Wright's played 2 years at ODU. It could be like hey, you come in. He was really highly recruited out of high school. I think he had a bunch of like Power 5 offers.
Yeah.
You come in, you're Ross's like backup, so you're probably going to get some reps in some games. And then like the year after, you're going to have a chance to be like the guy or one of the guys. Maybe that's part of the pitch.
I'm going to go off outline here for you.
Yeah.
There's been some reports that JMU is offering some quarterbacks.
This is true.
How does that make you feel?
Dude, I'm so confused by the by the quarterback offers.
Who they've offered a few. You told me about
this. Boise State guy, and he committed to Utah State very quickly after that, so he's off the table. But they offered what is it?
UConn, right?
Taquan Roberson, I think, for UConn. Yeah, Taquan Roberson at UConn, really good athlete. Has gotten some looks from multiple teams. I think he started for them at least a decent amount, but they brought somebody else in. I think he was going to start over him. But like a starting caliber or FBS quarterback who could definitely be QB2, but that would give you 6 guys on scholarship. Why? You don't need the QB6 to be strengthened.
Because right now you got the assumed starter, Dylan Morris, Billy Atkins, who's been QB2 for the last 2 seasons. You have Alonzo Barnett, a redshirt sophomore who was the game 1 starter last year. Then you have Griffiths, Brett Griffiths, right?
Yeah.
Not Mitch. Mitch is with Marshall.
Yeah.
So you got Brett Griffiths, who was a transfer in ahead of last season, who was competing and at one point was listed as the QB3 over Alonzo Barnett. Then you brought in freshman JC Evans, who is really solid and is expected to push for the starting role, maybe starting next year. If you ask Ben, he might think this year, but I expect maybe a red shirt for JC Evans, and he's pushing for it next year. But besides, like, you brought in that guy who was off of everyone's radar during the national signing day, comes in, signs his national letter of intent. Everyone's like, who is this guy out of Florida? He brings a lot of hope. Your QB room seems to be fine. And now you're bringing in potential, or you're offering 2 more quarterbacks. Does that worry you that Dylan Morris isn't I think he's still solidified as QB1, but this did put a quick little glimmer of doubt in my mind.
I think maybe it gives me doubt for like what they have at QB2, but Roberson's interesting because he started his career at Penn State, and then he was, and then they're all talking about JC Evans is going to start.
Ben and Nova both are in our YouTube comments saying that JC Evans will start next year. Very possible. There is a wide open QB1 spot in 2025 because Dylan Morris will be graduating.
Would you take the 2025 starter? Would you bet on anyone returning or a transfer right now?
Honestly, anyone returning.
Really?
Yeah, with Chesney, if Chesney stays.
Interesting.
If Chesney stays,
transfer.
Well, because JC Evans, the videos that have been coming out of camp look like he runs the QB power really well.
He does. He got like Sluka vibes.
So it gives me a little Sluka vibes. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Maybe they bring it like Roberson ran a little more last year. Maybe you have a package with him that's like running the ball. Because Morris isn't really going to do that. Maybe you want extra competition at QB2. That just seems like kind of a hard sell for a guy who was like playing some meaningful snaps at UConn. I think was getting looks. Let me find his Twitter. I think he was getting decent looks in the portal right now, if I'm not mistaken. So let's see. Well, I thought he had posted it. I don't know where he posted it. But anyway, he had gotten some decent looks, I think, from other schools, or at least some interest. Obviously, he had it coming out of high school. And now it's like, I don't know. It's confusing. 6 on scholarship feels crazy. Unless somebody's leaving that we don't know about. But they would have probably had that come out by now.
Yeah, by now, because the portal's closed. So it's all just very interesting. Very, very just like it's the Brian Windhorse meme.
Yes. Yeah, it's just
something's happening.
It's very confusing. Yeah.
It is, but
I don't know where I even saw that he had been. Did he post it? Because now it doesn't seem like
this is great podcasting, by the way. Nova Knows Ball in our YouTube comments just said your YouTube comments are at JC Evans hype room now, by the way. And
that's true.
Bennett can't see the comments, but they all are literally just JC Evans will be starting next year.
Well, if one of you people in the comments who are big recruiting people know where he posted, because I swear he
JC Evans?
No, where Roberson posted, because other people have done this. Like a Jacksonville State safety tweeted that he had an offer from JMU and like Miami of Ohio and UAB. And I checked him today and he had deleted only JMU's offer, which makes me think they were like, we got a nickel or whatever. Thanks for your time. Like, I don't know if Roberson or someone else. I thought he had posted it on Twitter, but now I'm not seeing it. But anyway, they had it offered at least a quarterback, which I found surprising.
Yeah, Thomas said Atkins and Barnett won't be around much longer. He says both are very talented players, but there's no room in the QB room. I agree with that. And that's what makes it so interesting. Yeah, it's also very interesting.
I thought Billy was going to transfer like 2 years ago, though.
I thought Billy was going to transfer every year. I'm shocked that he's still with the program. I think that speaks volumes to who Billy is as a person. Like that is,
yeah, he likes being a JMU, it seems like.
I don't blame him. All right, so that's football. Anything else on transfer portal?
No, they'll still have some action, but they have a good roster. Like, no matter who they add, they should be going into next year. Expectations are sky high.
Speaking of sky high, blind rankings. Okay. JMU running back edition. You remember the rules from last week?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna rattle off
glasses
5, but it's gonna be 6 because I have a bonus one. Who wasn't real? I won't spoil it. Number 1. Man, can you even see without your glasses on?
I can, but I just wear them so much that I look weird now. I can see pretty well. I work out every day without my glasses.
All right. Number 1, Percy.
Okay. And who are the other 5? Percy, I'm gonna put Percy 4th.
You're putting Percy at 4th out of 6?
Did you do all modern?
Oh my goodness.
If you did all modern, it's gonna be frustrating.
Well, Percy's one of the leading rushers in program history.
He was around for a while too.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he finished 2nd all time.
That's insane. Over how many games?
You're putting Percy at 4th. That's insane. All right, number 2, Khalid Abdullah.
Dog. 2nd.
Okay, you put Percy at 4 and Khalid at 2nd?
Khalid was amazing.
He was, but that just feels wrong.
That's recency bias.
I just got okay. So Khalid Abdullah 2nd.
I need the stats.
No. That breaks the rules. Warren Marshall.
Yeah, he's 1.
Okay, Warren Marshall 1.
Okay, so
Khalid 2, Percy 4.
This is going to be an issue, depending on. Oh,
Cardin Johnson.
5.
Okay. Curtis Keaton.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I don't know a lot about Curtis Keaton, other than that he was good and he was before my time. I think I have to put him 3rd.
Okay. And the last one is the bonus one that I felt like we had to include here. Delvin Joyce.
6, because that's all that
it is 6. He also was more of a return man during his time.
That one works though at 6, right?
It works at 6. He is the all-time leader in all-purpose yards with 5,659 all-purpose yards.
What? That's like mostly returning.
Yeah, almost 1,000 yards more than Daquan Scott, who had 4,700 in his career. Delvin Joyce was listed as a tailback, was primarily a return man, played in the NFL. Feel like he might be a little bit of a forgotten guy.
I'll be honest with you. This is one of my No, that's not true. Outside of quarterback, I feel like I'm not going to be good at any of these rankings. Maybe defensive back if they're recent.
All right, so let's recap. You had Warren Marshall number 1. Khalid Abdullah 2. Curtis Keaton 3. Percy 4. Carden 5.
Okay.
And Delvin Joyce 6. I think that's a pretty good list. Percy is maybe a little low, but I think that's pretty good.
Yeah. Let's see.
Are you in the history books now?
Yeah, I got in the history books. I actually feel decent about this ranking.
Yeah, I don't think it's actually better than your
best. Khalid had the best, individual season ever, 1,800 yards rushing.
Yeah, in a single season.
And he had 22 tutties that year, the most ever. Curtis Keaton, I think, is right. I had him third.
Yeah, I would have swapped
20,
him.
He had 20 in a season, which is more than Percy ever had in a season.
By 1.
Yeah, but he's also got more rushing yards in a season. Percy never had more than 1,200 rushing yards in a season.
Fair. Okay.
Second most attempts all time. He did have 39 touchdowns, so that's a lot.
I'll do it for blind rankings. That was a good one. Next week, wide receivers. Get ready. Learn up now on your wide receivers.
Antoine Wild's number 1.
Gary Clark should be number 1, right?
Yeah.
We heard from Moonski. Kahari Mans, a linebacker from the University of Colorado, just committed to JMU.
Yes.
Can we confirm?
Oh, yeah, that'd be bad.
Working to confirm. This is great podcasting. Live podcasting. Shout out Moonski. Kahari Mans, yep, an outside linebacker from Colorado. 6'3", 230 out of New Rochelle.
You know what I was thinking?
Dog.
Thinking about our roster.
Dog.
Weak at linebacker.
Were you?
Yeah, we only have Dobbs, Raymond Scott, Taurus Jones, and Trent Hendrick. And I feel like we have a lot of linebackers. The depth, again, is pretty...
All right, so you know what? We went out, we said we need 4 linebackers and 6 quarterbacks.
Oh, so he started his career at Maine.
Okay, cool.
Did some nice stuff for them.
And then
he played in 11 games for Colorado last season, which is known for its very good defense. And he had 9 tackles and a sack. Probably a depth piece at linebacker, right?
Was he the Louis Baggage Deion Sanders was talking about?
I can't imagine the main transfer was what he was referring to, but it's possible.
All right. So that takes us to basketball. If there's any more breaking news, let us know in the YouTube or Twitter comments.
We got to get him on the pod and talk and ask about Deion. What was that like?
Good luck. Where am I in this rundown here? Okay, JMU basketball.
Yeah.
Since the last time we talked, they added Bryce Lindsey, a former top 200 recruit. Me and Bennett were texting today about it. You see Bennett on the screen now, shaking his fist, really excited about this one. I texted him, and this is no slide. I said, why are we so excited about this guy? Former 3-star recruit. I don't know, why are we so excited? And then you broke it down for me, and now I, too, am very excited about Bryce Lindsey. I think it's a big-time pickup. He has the potential, that big-time P word, potential, to be one of the best guards in the Sun Belt.
Yeah, and he's got 3 years left. So he went to the IMG Academy
in Bradenton, Florida.
His bio was confusing because his bio, the way it was written on Texas A&M's website, made it act like he dropped 20 a game there, but he actually dropped 20 a game at his high school in Maryland. So I don't know exactly what his IMG playing stuff was. But I guess he missed a lot of the season this year with Texas A&M for the injury. The one game where he kind of played a little bit against DePaul, he had double-figure scoring. He was 4 of 8 from the field. Obviously, beating up on DePaul was sort of something that everyone in college basketball was able to do this year. But talented player. I was talking about how they might not need to go deep or whatever. They might just be a 7 or 8 man rotation on one of our previous podcasts. They're kind of pushing that now. They might be deep.
Yeah. They very well could be. I remember we were talking maybe 2 podcasts ago before a few of the big time, before a couple more transfers came in. We were they're sitting at 6 right now, 5 or 6. That's a good rotation.
It is a good rotation.
Or not a good rotation, but like they could field a team and be competitive.
They've got, Preston Spradlin's cooking in the portal.
He really is. Call him Chef P. No more Coach P. It's Chef P now because he is putting on an absolute transfer portal masterclass. I do want to throw something out to you because Nova knows ball in our YouTube comments. I need the Mark Freeman top 3 that I was promised. Nova, not only were we promised the top 3, we were promised that a decision was coming soon a week ago.
We got to talk Mark Freeman tweets for
Mark Freeman one tweets because that man is unhinged saying top 3 dropping today. Mark, if you're listening, and I doubt you are, don't tweet that until you have the graphic saved to your phone. You don't got to let us know that the top 3 is dropping today. I do want to ask you, Bennett, with Bryce Lindsey being added to this roster, is Mark Freeman still in play for JMU? And right on cue, Bennett freezes. You love to see it. Awesome. All right, so I'll kind of answer that question for Bennett while we wait for him to come back. I think the Mark Freeman pipe dream, the Mark Freeman hope might be done now. I think the addition of the Texas A&M transfer Bryce Lindsey fills that void. Granted, there's a lot of potential. There's a lot of projection when it comes to Lindsey. So maybe you can still go out and add a Mark Freeman. But one, we don't know what his top 3 is. He hasn't been able to nail down a ton recently. It seems like there might be a late push, maybe something with the NIL, maybe something with transfer credits happening right now with Mark Freeman, which is a reason why we haven't seen him make a decision yet. But I think the addition of Bryce Lindsey is writing on the wall that Mark Freeman isn't coming to JMU. Bennett, I asked you before you froze and left us.
I know, it was really sad. I told you.
Do you think the addition of Bryce Lindsey takes Mark Freeman off the table, or do you think JMU's still in the running in landing the 5'11" preseason all OVC player and the 2022 the 2022 conference player of the year?
Yeah, I'm a little bit obsessed with Mark Freeman right now based on his social media habits. So
should I pull up his
I've got it. You can pull it up
if
you want.
We might have to put this on stream.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting stuff. So I think he could still technically be in play because Lindsey has 3 years of eligibility and Freeman's just got the 1 left. So maybe you have them both there and Lindsey sort of learns from him. But they've got enough options right now. I wouldn't be shocked if they aren't, whichever way he decides. I don't think they're going to be necessarily too freaked out if Freeman doesn't come to Harrisonburg. They've got scorers outside of him.
Yeah. Thomas said, what about the other Morehead State guy that recently entered the portal?
Oh, God.
What was that, Thelwell?
No, Thelwell was the one who was really good that we wanted, and then he didn't go to like a...
He went to a Power 5.
Iowa or
what was his name?
Jordan
Lathon. We don't know, Thomas, if he is
He's not eligible.
He has played 4 full seasons, not including COVID.
Yeah, I believe he needs like a recent lawsuit to go in favor of people getting 5 years, and then he would have eligibility. So I can't imagine they're going to sort of grab him unless they have like an extra spot they're not too worried about. I think they have 3 scholarships left, I read today from Shane Mellon. I think it's 3 left. So still got some options there. And I think they're going hard after at least one high school kid.
Tell me your breakdown of Mark Freeman's social.
Okay. April 27th. He tweets.
What day are we recording? What is it today? This is May 8th.
Yeah. So this is 10 plus days ago. Decision soon. Smiley face. Okay. Now we fast forward. May 7th, top 3 drops today. Okay. He tweeted that at 2:11 Eastern time on May 7th. 11:07 on May 7th. He tweets he quote tweets the top 3 thing. It says real soon. Sorry for the delay. Yeah, this guy, man. He's just like top 3's and everyone be where is it? Where's this? I don't know. It's not coming.
Bennett, I love you, man.
I think he has to commit. Wow.
That
am I
Twitter,
there? Am I there? test.
That Twitter portion just cut out like so much. So it was a lot of pauses and then breaks back in. So to quickly recap what Bennett was saying.
Oh my God.
April 27th-ish, decision coming soon. Fast forward to yesterday, May 7th, top 3 dropped today. Then just a few hours later, he quote tweets his own tweet and says, real soon, sorry for delay, guys. And you want him to commit? You think he's committing to JMU?
No, I want him to not drop a top 3 and then commit anywhere he wants. That would be electric. To be like, decision soon. He's like, top 3 coming. He's like, kidding. I'm going to Vandy, which he's supposed to visit Vandy in like 5 days.
But Vandy just added a guard.
So I don't know what's happening. But I do hope that he either commits without the top 3, which would be hilarious, or he has a top 3 that includes my dream top 3 would be JMU, Wisconsin, which is also out of a bunch of guards, so he might be off the table there. JMU, Wisconsin, Vandy would be fun because like they just beat Wisconsin. Their coach left for Vandy. JMU fans in the mentions would be like, it's not even a question.
Did you see his quote tweet of the top 20 available transfer players right now in the portal?
Yeah, he was sad that he wasn't one of
Which do you think that is a snub? Because I think he's a top 20 available transfer at this point in the process.
You could argue that's a snub. I wonder if he's waiting for the decision so he can sneak onto a top 20 list.
That might be it.
Waits, the more transfers that leave.
Mark Freeman, if you're listening to this, please just slide into our DMs and let us know what the top 3 are. We'll make you the graphic. We'll do it.
And then somebody else, some JMU fan, I can't remember exactly who it was, but they were like, Nova's saying, I wanted to post a video from wherever he's committing and just go, oh yeah, I'm here now. My bad. That'd be sweet. Or just not say anything until like the season begins. Like your next tweet is like, can't wait for the year. And he's like at Vanderbilt or something. But
he's in front of their fake Parthenon in Nashville.
The man is absolutely electric.
If he does come to JMU, that they're going to, when they were first adding players in the portal, we came on this podcast and we're like, they're going to be so good defensively. They might struggle to score 50, but man, are they going to hold teams down. And then they added Luke Anderson.
Yeah.
And then they've just continued to add good shooters. And it's like, oh, they might be also good offensively. If they go and add Mark Freeman, who's capable of scoring 20 on average through a whole season, they could be great defensively and offensively.
And he's got like a pretty good defensive metrics for somebody his size. Oh, here. Okay, so I found the thing. It was JMU Cowboy Bob. He had said, I don't know what any of this means, but Mark Freeman just unliked and reliked the post for a second time. And the post was like, Mark Freeman in purple and gold would make my day, week, and month. And then Mark Freeman replied to it. He goes, my bad, bro. Finger slipped.
I love this guy. Bring him to JMU. Please bring him to JMU.
Oh my gosh, he is electric, man. I need him. Need him in purple and gold.
That'd be great.
Okay, but at the least, let's get a top 3.
We need a top 3. If JMU's included in the top 3, I'd consider that a pretty good win. Okay, so from here. Yeah. There's been a lot of memeable moments. If you just saw what has been texted to your phone.
I'm trying to make sure my hotspot doesn't go out.
Okay, so from here, we can either go listener questions or talk some Diamond Dukes into listener questions. Where do you want to go? This is a choose your own adventure. You know, they say silence is great for podcasts.
Diamond Dukes.
Okay, Diamond Dukes.
What about
baseball?
Listener question?
Okay, we can go listener questions.
Okay. You pick. I can't pick.
Okay, we'll do listener questions at the end because we got some good ones. I'm really excited about Steak Sauce's question that we have coming up after Diamond Dukes. Baseball.
Yep.
They're on the inside looking in right now. I think it was D1 Baseball, maybe Baseball America. I get the two publications confused if I'm being 100% honest. Currently, they're a 3 seed in the Greenville Regional. Thoughts on that?
That'd be cool, right? That would require an apology.
It would be. I'm gearing up for a full-fledged apology. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but this apology is going to be electric.
Be nice if Eikenberry was here to hear it.
I'm not saying I'm against it. If we got Eikenberry on the pod, do you think he'd be game for that?
I have no idea.
As he's getting prepared for a regional appearance, his first in his career with JMU, he comes on this podcast. Eikenberry, I know you have no idea who I am. I just want to say I'm sorry for doubting you and calling for your job.
He's so nice too that he probably be like, okay.
So currently, JMU is in the top 30 of the top 40 of the RPI. It changes on a daily basis.
Yeah, they
currently
dropped a little bit.
They were 26 in the RPI about a week and a half ago. They're currently 39th in the RPI. That's mainly because they beat a bad Arkansas State team, losing one of those Arkansas State games 8-1. However, a 13-12 win over Georgetown last Tuesday. Their May 8th game, which was scheduled for today against USC Upstate, was canceled, probably due to RPI reasons.
They canceled that a while ago.
Yeah. So to finish out the season, they have 3 games at home against Marshall, 4 games on the road, 3 against Troy, 1 against Virginia Tech. So with the remaining schedule they have, Marshall 203 in the RPI. So
at home.
I don't want to say you got a sweep, but it feels pretty darn close to you got a sweep, because then you finish out the year with Virginia Tech, who's 41st in the RPI, and Troy, who is 47th in the RPI. And this is a JMU team that has beat up on teams at home, going 21-5 at Veterans Memorial Park, but just 7-14 away from Eagle Field.
I think with the Marshall series, you tell me if I'm wrong. You got to either root for obviously a win or a rain out, because their RPI is so bad that like if the game is canceled, fine. But like
if they lose because you see what they were 26th a week and a half ago. They lose 1 of 3 against Arkansas State, and they go from 26th to 39th.
And I think Arkansas State, now they're they're a little bit better than Marshall. So, I don't know. Is their RPI better?
May 2nd, 194. Okay, May 2nd, JMU was 26th in RPI 6 days ago. They lose the game to Arkansas State on May 4th. On May 5th, they're 37th.
That's a quick drop.
And then they beat them and they fall even more. So it's tough at this point in the season. You got to sweep Marshall.
Yeah, the Marshall series, they're not going to gain anything, but they have a lot to lose. And then I think the reverse, right, is entirely true in the Virginia Tech and Troy games.
Yeah. If you go 1-3 in those 4 games, that's amazing. If you go 1-3, you all but if you sweep Marshall and then go 1-3 against Virginia Tech and Troy, you are 90% in.
I think you'd have a really good chance. Yeah, I think that's fair. And then obviously anything you do in the Sun Belt tournament on a neutral is gravy. But yeah, the Marshall series is fascinating because it's just one where like you just can't drop anything. So I think the weather on the East Coast is not supposed to be great. So I don't know. Maybe one of those will get rained out. Maybe it'll just be showers and they'll play through it. Not entirely sure this weekend. But if they do play them, got to win them. And then those last 4, opportunity is abundant. But they've never been this close, right, since we followed them to making a regional. They're right on the precipice.
No, normally at this point in the season, we're like, okay, if they can just finish the year with 4 wins, they make the conference tournament. Right. Now we're sitting here, we're going, if they can finish the year with just 4 wins, they can make the NCAA regional.
Which is what you're striving for. It'd be huge for the program. First appearance in over a decade if they get it done.
I'm so right. I so want to apologize. I can't wait to apologize.
They're currently 6th in the Sun Belt. So obviously a super competitive conference, but their RPI metric is helping them a ton. The Marshall series, if they do happen to sweep it, you also have a chance to make a nice little leap up the conference standings, which certainly help you in the conference tournament before going to the Troy series. Troy is really, really good. They're 2nd in the league right now, only to Louisiana. Coastal's
I love Louisiana. Louisiana, I've heard, great place this time of year.
I don't know why I thought Coastal was doing so well, because they're not. Louisiana owns the Diamond Sports.
Shout out Will Butcher real quick.
Okay.
He's a player on Troy. He is 5th in the Sun Belt with 15 home runs, and where is he? 2nd in the Sun Belt, averaging 1.4 RBIs per game. 2nd in the Sun Belt with 70 RBIs. That's 6th in the nation. He was the designated hitter for Charlotte last year. Big time bat. When he gets rolling, he is a dangerous hitter.
I've always believed that.
All right. So from one Diamond Sport to the other, softball, they take down Southern Miss 6-2. They hang a 5 spot in the first inning. And from there, the team just coasts and picks up a massive first round win in the Sun Belt Conference Championship over the 9th seeded Southern Miss Golden Eagles, I think, down in San Marcos, Texas. Tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. local, they'll face off against the first seeded Ragin' Cajuns. That's a big time matchup.
Big time matchup. I guess the positive is it's just like they're just one game. So like anything can happen. They were swept by Louisiana in the regular season, but the first game of the series was super competitive. So we'll see if they can put up a fight. If they don't, it's still been a decent season. I mean, a little disappointing in general, not getting to a regional. If they lose, not getting to a regional since they made the Women's College World Series. But if they can pull the upset, it becomes a lot of fun the rest of the week. And if they can't, I think there's still a lot to build on with a young team. So it's kind of like whatever happens, happens.
Louisiana has won 10 of the last 13 Sun Belt Conference championships.
They're monsters, man.
Louisiana has only not won it since 2010. In 2018 against Texas State. 2015 was South Alabama winning it. In 2012 and 2013, South Alabama won it both years.
That's the good stuff.
They're a dominant team, so they'll have their work cut out for them. But if there is a team in this bracket that can knock off the Ragin' Cajuns, maybe it's the Dukes who have a College World Series appearance in the last 5 years.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, you got to send Eikenberry flowers and chocolates.
Yeah, Rossor said that. I might have to.
That'd be something. We've also got huge lacrosse action on Friday.
Huge. They made it as an at-large. I called it.
You called it. They've got Penn State on Friday in College Park. I'll see how busy my Friday afternoon is.
I might come up this Friday, like in 48 hours.
Uh-huh.
You want to pay for my gas money? I'll come up and watch it with you.
Yeah, maybe. And then they've got winner gets presumably Maryland.
In College Park.
Yeah. But that'd be fun. So we'll see what happens with that one.
I mean, it's a lacrosse team that's capable of beating anyone, but also capable of losing to anyone. And I know that's like a really tired cliche, but the way their defense plays at times is really good. The way the defense plays at other times is not very good. And I was on full display against Florida, and it really comes down to draw controls. I think there was at a point where there was a point in the game, especially when Florida went on their run to kind of pull away. Florida was scoring on about 90% of their draw controls, which is going to win you games.
Absolutely will.
Thanks, Bennett.
One more shout out, Kendall Turner.
Yes.
Women's golf finished tied for 24th in the NCAA Bermuda Run Regional, which is the best individual regional finish for a JMU golfer. So pretty good stuff for Kendall Turner there. Wraps up her career. Great work for her. An electric career for the women's golf team, which is really, they've raised their floor and their ceiling with Tommy Baker.
It might be time to have Tommy Baker back on the
podcast. I love
podcast.
Tommy Baker. Yeah, we got to have Tommy Baker on.
I'm going to cut that. Love Tommy Baker. Okay. That brings us to listener questions.
Okay,
Drum
let me
roll,
ask
please.
them to you.
I don't trust. No. I don't trust your hotspot.
No. It's fine. Okay, steak sauce. If you could choose one all-time JMU coach to be your personal hype man, who would it be?
Mike Houston. Easy. Did you hear his pregame speeches?
Yeah.
Bro,
So
there's a time. There was a time in my JMU career, I would be getting ready to take finals, and I would listen to Mike Houston pregame speeches.
That's insane, but
you got to dominate the point of contact. We lock the damn gates.
You're filling out like a Scantron. That's awesome. I was thinking I could go Coach O for this. And the reason I was thinking that is I think if he was like following me around constantly, I feel like Coach O would give me enough. Like if I was like, being lazy or being bad, he'd be honest with me, but then also hype me up when I deserve it. Or I feel like this was maybe brought on by Bob Chesney, where like, I don't think I love Bob. I love Bob Chesney. I don't know if I could vibe if it's me writing like a sports betting story that nobody's reading. He's like, this is the greatest day of your life. I'm like, no, it's not, Bob. I've had better days.
What was that video of him where he was like walking through everyone in the warm-ups and he was like, this is the best day to be your best and have your best day ever. And I was like, damn, that would
be too much for me. Yeah, too much.
I'm also just a very negative person.
Yeah, so I need I feel like Coach O would give me some negativity where it's like, we turned it over 39 times. I don't know. I've never seen that before. That's
as much flack as we give him on this podcast. A close second for me is Lou Rowe.
Yeah, Lou Rowe would be a great one. That's a good pick.
Lou Rowe. We went out there and we really battled with our guys and we tried to bring it home. We just couldn't. That half court buzzer beater really broke our backs. Ross said Mickey in his prime. Mickey Matthews, yeah.
That'd be a fun one, yeah.
With any coach that's willing to run the ball 3 times for 2 yards each carry, I appreciate his dedication. He'd be a good hype man.
Signetti, I think, would be an interesting one, except the issue would be if he's following me around all the time, he's have his hands like on his back, in that position where he's getting kind of tired.
When you mess up, you're worried that he's going to say that you have the yips and you look like a golfer who can't swing.
He did that pose that's like a little bit like
a pregnant mom.
Like a pregnant mom. During the Indiana spring game, I woke up the other day to like a text from my dad that was just a zoomed in photo of Signetti in Indiana. He's like, not gonna miss that pose. I was like, I am, I think. So funny.
I'm excited to see Chesney on the sidelines.
That'll be good.
Cowboy.
Whoa. Cowboy Bob says, build your 2024-25 starting men's hoop lineup as it stands now. I really want to fire these two.
Okay,
go.
Starting point guard, Xavier Brown.
Okay.
Starting 5, Ebenezer Duwana. Alongside Xavier Brown, I'm going to go AJ Smith.
Okay.
Justin Taylor at the 3, and Eddie Ricks at the 4.
Okay.
No. I forgot Luke Anderson. Luke Anderson at the 4.
You got Ricks coming off the bench.
Ricks off the bench. Lindsay off the bench. Elijah Hutchins Everett, first guy off the bench to replace Ebenezer.
I dig that. I would go similar. I would go Brown at point guard. I would put Justin Taylor at the 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Even though he's playing the 4 at Syracuse?
Even though he's playing a 4 at Syracuse, because I want to.
He's never played the 2 in college.
Okay, until now. And then I would put my guy Luke Anderson at the 3. We're going really, really big.
Oh, don't tell me you're putting Ebenezer and Hutchins Everett.
No, Ricks. I want Ricks at the 4. Shot blocking Ricks, and then I'm gonna go with
6'7". Okay.
I'm gonna go with Hutchins Everett as my 5.
Okay.
With Duwana off the bench.
I like it.
Yeah, they got a lot of options.
They do.
And then Mark Freeman, obviously, when he commit. Once he drops his top 3.
If Mark Freeman commits, does he go the 1, Xavier Brown go to the 2?
Oh, that's a good question.
Or does Xavier stay at the 1 and is a ball handling facilitator with Mark Freeman being a short 2 at 5'11"?
That's a good point. They could also do line shifts, one of them being their small shift, one of them being huge. So I'm thinking Hutchins Everett, Ebenezer, right? Your 4, your 5. Luke Anderson's at the 3. Ricks plays the 2. And then maybe you have like Jarrell Roberson handle point forward.
I like it. All right. Next one.
Next question from Ben Hofer, Duke's Recruits. How does our new defensive tackle transfer fit into the D-line rotation? This is your guy Fitz.
Fitzgerald. He's the wrong Fitz, but I respect Fitz regardless.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I think he fits really well into it. We talked about it earlier in the podcast, but I think you're not going to replace what Carpenter did on the inside. You're not going to replace what Kamara did on the outside with Jalen Green. You're not going to replace what you lost in one guy. What you're going to do is you're going to replace it with all of the guys that you bring in. And I think he fits really well into that. I think he's a solid a great FCS player that should project well to the FBS level, especially considering he was playing against the Missouri Valley, one of the top tier FCS conferences. He put up some solid numbers at Youngstown State. Eastern Michigan wanted him. He committed there, and 48 hours later, he was with JMU. I think he'll fit really well into it, and I think he'll be a big contributor for JMU up the middle.
I completely agree. Okay, this is from Garrett Lamb. I'm sure you'll cover this, but another quick estimation of what baseball needs to do to get the at-large bid.
I think they need to sweep. I completely forgot about Terry Lockett, too.
Yeah, you got Lockett, Bush, Daryl Deneau, and then what was it? Fitz. Michael McMullen, I think, was playing well too at Red River. They've got at least like 5 guys that could play there.
Yeah. I'm going to throw a question back at you after this baseball question. You got to sweep Marshall, and then you got to win one of your next 4 against Virginia Tech and Troy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, question back to you.
Okay.
This might be a controversial question, but I'm asking it for a reason. Do you think Tyreek Tucker transferred out because he wasn't going to get the amount of play time he thought he was going to get?
I don't know why he'd go to Indiana if that's
I know.
what you're thinking, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like he's going to play. But I don't think – I think of a lot of the transfers, and I think he's a good player. I feel like his is maybe one of the least impactful just because of the other really talented guys at that position.
Very fair. Here for the last one?
Okay, last question. From Billy
Matthews. We got another question in the YouTube comment. So
okay.
Billy Matthews, and then I'll throw one at you.
Okay. Billy Matthews Jr. is the 2024-25 basketball lineup, men's basketball lineup, our largest ever. Size-wise, who's going to match up with us in the Sun Belt?
Right now, it's the largest ever because they've never had 2 7-footers on the roster at the same time. So just right there, your average is being pulled up. Now, if they bring on Mark Freeman, we might have to do some math because he's 5'11".
True.
That might pull down the average. So as of right now, no, it's very large, and they can run some big lineups out there. You mentioned it. You can put Hudgens Everett and Ebenezer Dewana at the 4 and the 5. That's all of a sudden the biggest front court in the entire Sun Belt. Xavier Brown back there with Eddie Ricks, 6'4", 6'7". Justin Taylor you can put there at the 2 with 6'7". I think Xavier's 6'2".
I like just rounding up with all of them. So
okay.
6'4".
But they could be huge. They really could be big. And then Luke Anderson at the 3, I think he's
Anderson's a 7-footer. Riggs is a 7-footer. I think Anderson's 6'8". Yeah, they got a ton of size. They're also they're not little slender Chet Holmgrens, right? They're
don't disrespect Chet Holmgren.
He's skinny though, but they've got some meat on their bones.
All right. We don't need to be disrespecting.
I can do it because I have Chet Holmgren's body type, just with I'm a 1.5 shorter, so I can't play in the NBA.
Ross or 11. Sproles has been working his ass off. Does he get a pro placement? I don't think so. At least NFL pro wise.
Probably if he gets an NFL thing, it'd probably be a tryout.
Sorry about that loud noise.
Yeah, so I think NFL wise it'll be tough based on kind of what he was saying about his 40-yard dash at the pro day.
Yeah, maybe CFL, maybe UFL.
If he keeps working, I feel like he'll get a chance somewhere eventually.
Yeah, but if he keeps with it, eventually someone will scoop him up and give him an opportunity. I don't know if he'll get a mini camp invite, considering mini camps have now started for rookies.
Fair point.
It's kind of there's also Jalen Green. He's waiting to get healthy.
Yeah.
Sproles. Who else? Chuck Wienecki got a rookie camp invite.
That's true.
Q Reed, nothing.
Q Reed, there were some others. So Charles Palmer declared. Some other guys declared.
Claritin, then sips. What's that water bottle?
This is actually, I'm glad you asked. This is from the players. This is actually a 50th anniversary commemorative Yeti from the 2024 Players Championship won by Scotty Scheffler in Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else you got to add before the end of this podcast?
No, I think that's all I got. I'll add our mans to the portal. Do we get somebody else?
Last second heave at the buzzer.
Mm-hmm.
JMU RVA. Which true freshman football player has the best chance at starting? Drum roll.
At starting?
At starting. Chase Regan.
Chase Regan's probably a good pick. And I think Dylan Williams has a chance to play and do some stuff. I don't think he'll start week 1 though.
Starting's tough with wide receivers. I think can I say a hot take?
Yeah.
He'll be top 3 on the team in targets.
He's a stud. He's got a ton of potential. Yeah, Chase Regan, safety, they have a lot of holes.
That secondary has losing pods is not, God, tough. But all right, for Bennett Conlon, I'm Jack Fitzpatrick. Thank you guys for tuning into the JMU Sports News Podcast presented by Bet Online. We'll be back sometime next week with more JMU sports chatter. I think I've already said this is the JMU Sports News Podcast presented by Bet Online. Follow us at JMU Sports News, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and keep up with us with our home on the web, www.jmusportsnews.com. See ya.